Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Dream Rare podcast. We have 4 stories today. The first one is about Dana White shutting down reports of racism between 2 fighters. Pretty awesome response.
You know, I know you say, hey, this is the fight business. People say nasty things, right? But the tension between those two and kind of the racial undertones and all those things, how do you...
What were the racial undertones?
Then we're going to talk about Joy Behar saying she gets turned on by Joe Biden's anger.
I don't know.
I think it was just someone being angry makes you turned on.
I'm turned on by Biden's anger. I am too. I like it.
Gross. Sorry about that, guys. Next, we're going to talk about Zelensky of Ukraine upset that Biden and NATO doesn't want him to join NATO. And lastly, we're going to wrap it up with my thoughts on the Sound of Freedom movie and the controversy and backlash from the left and the right on different angles. And then some Trump versus DeSantis drama that some people probably really want to hear and others don't. Who knows? Oh well, it's the Dream Rare podcast. Show starts now. It's the Dream Rare podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Dream Rare podcast on YouTube. The chat will open up at the end. If you stay tuned towards the end, I'll open it up for everybody, but just members only for the beginning. First story I want to talk about has to do with the UFC and what Dana White said in response to a racism claim about fighters. I was at the event this week. I'll talk about it after the first story. I don't want to get into personal stuff now. I'd rather start with the story. So here is that clip of Dana White shutting down claims of racism like a boss. And you won't see this in other sports leagues. You just won't. Here's the clip. And if you're against cursing, I apologize. This clip has curses in it. It is what it is. I'm not going to censor them.
You know, I know you say, hey, this is the fight business. People say nasty things, right? But the tension between those two and kind of the racial undertones and all those things, how do you...
What were the racial undertones?
Drigga says he's the real African fighter, and so, you know, Israel dropped some N-words in there tonight.
So what was the racial? Who did? Who dropped the racial?
Israel was saying over and over, yeah.
He's black.
50 N-bombs in there.
Okay, he's black. Who gives a shit?
I was going to say, so you don't have any concern about the way the build-up, the tension between those two?
I could care less. This is the fight business. Israel Adesanya, you can say whatever you want to say. Who gives a shit? Why, are people bitching about that?
Some people,
of course they are. Oh, fucking A. All right, got it. Yeah. Too fucking bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Last thing for me then.
So he said, who gives a shit, too effing bad? That's his response. Before I talk about why he's saying that and what the controversy even is, I need to explain to people how important this is and how rare it is for a CEO of a sports league to just not even care and brush this type of stuff off. You don't see that, not in the MLB, not in the NBA, not in the NFL. Recently, my friend brought it to my attention today that a Blue Jays player had to apologize because he shared a hurtful video about a Target and a Bud Light boycott. So the conservative Bud Light and Target boycotts that are going on, a baseball player agreed with that, apologized, and then he got released from the team. In the MLB, the Major League Baseball, and I'm not trying to compare it to like a camp or something because these guys make a lot of money, but it's very communist China-esque where it's like if you don't go along with the regime, you can't play in this league. They pay these guys the big contracts in the MLB, the NBA, the NFL, and then they can't say anything. And then they get kicked out of the league if they ever even do. I mean, a Bud Light boycott, who cares? Who cares? That's nothing. That's like 1/8 as crazy as anything that has been said in the UFC. And this guy comes out and has to apologize in the MLB. Says, I'm sorry. I realized what I said was hurtful. My bad. I realized I hurt a whole community. And then they kick him out of the team. In the UFC with Dana White as the CEO, who went against lockdowns, by the way, he had a lot of events in Florida with the help of Governor DeSantis. And the UFC said, we're not locking down like everyone else. So they held events for years, which helped propel the UFC because as everyone else is locked down and scared, they're letting people fight in Florida. I think it was in Jacksonville for a while. But long story short, they're trying to hype up this racial tension. Most other CEOs would say, oh my gosh, we got to talk to this guy. He's got to go on an ADL tour or talk to BLM or whatever the organization of the day is. We're so sorry. We're going to fine him. You get fined in the NBA for saying no homo, which doesn't even make sense. It's not even hateful because if you're like, hey, that shirt looks good on that guy, no homo, you're not even saying you hate gay people or you don't like them. You're just saying, I'm not gay. I don't want you to think I'm gay, but you have a nice shirt on. It's the same as if a gay guy was like, yo, that woman, she's pretty, but I'm no straight though. I'm not straight, but she's hot. You get what I'm saying? It's not even a hateful phrase. Yet in the NBA, you get fined. They steal your money if you say no homo. That's how crazy it is. So, every other sports league, before I even tell you what the controversy is about, is like communist Chinese-esque, except instead of protecting China and the Chinese people like communist China does, they're protecting God knows what, far left commie style agenda. It's insane. So I appreciate Dana so much for just being like, who cares? It's the fight business. They can say whatever they want. You have Bryce Mitchell, who has questioned school shootings. You've had Sean Strickland, who says women shouldn't vote. You have Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis, which I'm about to talk about, with racial African tension. And Dana White's like, I'm not the police. They're fighters. They're going to say what they want. It is what it is. Deal with it. I love it. Thank you, Dana White, for being the realest sports CEO probably ever, definitely in modern history. With that being said, I want to explain what the racial tension is. It's actually interesting. I've spoken about it slightly months ago. Now it's getting more interesting because the white guy from South Africa actually won. Now he's going to fight for the championship. But anyway, you have a white South African named Dricus du Plessis. He's white, but he's been born and raised in South Africa. He fights out of South Africa. He lives in South Africa. He trains in South Africa. If he wins the belt, he's going to take the championship back to South Africa. And he basically said that. He said, I'm the real African. The other guy, the black guy, his name is Israel Adesanya. He, I think, was mostly raised in New Zealand. He doesn't live or take the belt back to Nigeria. So that's what Dricus du Plessis said. He said, I'm the real African. When I win the championship, is going back to Africa. I eat in Africa. I breathe in Africa. I sleep in Africa. I train in Africa. I'm the real African champion. And now there's racial tension because, Israel Adesanya, who's the black guy who doesn't live in Africa, says, well, I'm really African because my DNA is African. If you took a 23andMe test, you're not really African. It's not that big of a deal, but I do think culturally it's very relevant because there's two different things going on: nation and race. Race is who you are inside. I think some of the fighters have made this like, it's your DNA. If I moved to China and I was born and raised in China, would you look at me and say, hey, Anomaly, you're Chinese? You probably wouldn't, even if I was born and raised in China. And you could say that and everyone understands. It's like, even if Anomaly was born and raised in China, I would never look at him and think he's Chinese. And I don't know if I would even consider him Chinese because he's not. And some would say you are Chinese. But in Eastern, I would say like Europe, not even Eastern European, but like Eastern nations, or I guess, I don't know, East or West, depends which way you look at Earth. But you get what I'm saying. America, the West, I guess it would be. I'm thinking about the maps I normally see. But anyway, long story short, the West, I guess people will call it, Europe, America. If you say that to somebody, they say you're racist. Like, oh, that's racist if you don't think this refugee is truly French. But it's a conversation that's being had all over the world of like, what is race versus nation? If you're white and you live in Africa, are you really African? If you're black, are you really African? I see both sides of it. Nation-wise, Dricus du Plessis is right. He is nationally African. Racial-wise, Israel Adesanya has a point. He's African genetically. I don't really care, either way. It's like, I don't care which side of the fence people are on. It's not a big deal to me. So I don't think it's overly hyped or you're racist. If you say I'm African because I'm black, or you say I'm African because I was born and raised here, who cares? It's nation versus race. Do you consider the nation what makes you African? Do you consider the race what makes you African? Some people see it on both sides. Whichever side you see it on, I like the fact that the fight business is the fight business. They just fight it out. There's no crying about it. There's no racism. There's no fines. You step in the ring. The best man wins. Doesn't matter what race or nation you're from. That's what makes the UFC awesome. With that being said, before I get in my next story, I just want to tell you guys about my weekend. I bought tickets to see the UFC event. I'm a big fight fan. I like the fact that these UFC fighters are outspoken. I'm tired of other sports. I don't even watch other sports anymore because it's so boring. Oh, I said a bad word. I have to apologize. Oh, I'm conservative. I'm so sorry for being conservative. Let me play baseball. Shut up. It's so lame. It's so commie. It's like these sports leagues are basically just taking the strong men in America and all over the world, luring them with big contracts into these sports leagues, and then shutting them up. I'm starting to think that these sports are like controlled. I'm not saying you're controlled if you play sports, but the fact that it's like, here, we'll give you 50 million, 10 million, 5 million, and shut you up as a strong man. We need our strong men to speak out. We can't have them bottled down in a league that finds you for speaking the truth or being conservative. So I like the UFC on multiple levels. Fighting is badass. And the fact that Dana doesn't shut his fighters up and they say whatever they want, it's super cool. Long story short, I went to Vegas. It was International Fight Week, and I was doing some networking too. I wasn't just there for fun. A lot of fighters are, I wouldn't say fans of mine, but they follow me. I've noticed that more than any other sport. A lot of fighters like will comment and say stuff. So I wanted to meet some of my friends. I did. I networked. I hung out. went to the event, was super cool. And I'm going to try to combine both worlds. I don't want to like force a sport down your throat or anything, but these fighters are way cooler and way more manly and way more conservative than most other athletes. And they have a voice and they have thoughts and they're not dumb. So I'm going to try to bring more fighters onto my show, even to talk about events, maybe get into UFC media or something. So I wasn't just having like a Vegas vacation for fun. It was like a, double. I did have a great time, obviously, but it was like a networking event too. I was like, let me meet some people in person. Let me hang out, see how this sport works. And super huge success. So I had a great weekend, and it's super cool to see these worlds colliding. And I think I'll hopefully play a big role in helping that happen, because having a CEO like Dana White, Trump got a huge applause there. He got bigger applause than Guy Fieri and Israel Adesanya. These people are way more conservative than most sports fans. It's really cool to see. Dope stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go to my second story, and then we can talk about more stuff later. I saw ALX on Twitter. I follow him. I like that guy. He posted this video of Joy Behar saying that Joe Biden turns her on when he's mad. I mean, listen, ladies or gay guys that watch my show, I don't think you're getting turned on by Joe Biden, but if you are turned on by Joe Biden, I won't tell anybody, but just don't comment it so nobody knows. Keep it inside.
I don't know.
I think it was just someone being angry make you turned on.
Yeah, I'm turned on by Biden's anger. I am too. I like it.
You like it?
I do.
Well, you have said.
She's turned on by Joe Biden's anger. First of all, ew. Unnecessary. These are conversations you're supposed to have behind the paywall or something, but after the show in the commercial break when they're shoving pharmacy pills down your throat. But I don't know what was going on. They're like, oh, I'm turned on by anger. And she's like, I'm turned on by Biden when he gets angry. All I'm going to say is standards, folks. You should have them. I mean, he is the president. Some women like power. He does have power. I don't think he's really running the show, but, he's a powerful puppet himself. I'm not. I don't feel that way, obviously. Hopefully most people don't as well. But I will say, this. I don't like to get angry because I try to keep calm, have fun. But when I do get passionate and when I do start getting fiery, I have noticed that single women start flying in my DMs. Oh, I love when you rant about, lockdowns. Oh, I love when you get angry at the Republican Party for being pussies. Excuse my language, but I guess I'm cursing this time. Apologize, but Dana White kind of opened the floodgate for this live. I'll go back to PG after this. Long story short, I think there is something there. Obviously, I would hope most women have higher standards than Biden, but I think women do like when you get mad for some reason. They're like, oh, do that again. Oh, I like that. It's like, why? Why are women always instigating like that? You want your guy to be calm and only get upset if he has to. You don't want your guy having veins popping out every week, getting mad just because it turns you on. So, ladies, what is that? You like anger or something? I noticed that myself too. When I'm nice, when I'm chilling, it's like when I get pissed and I feel bad about it, I'm like, why did I get so angry? People are like, oh, do that again, do that angry. You think I want to be angry every day yelling at a freaking webcam? It's not ideal. Don't make your man angry. Let him be calm and just snap when he has to protect you, not like every day. It's like these women, they'll be dating some guy, she's like, oh, I like the guy. I always have bad luck. Why do I have bad luck? You have bad luck because you choose angry guys all the time. It's like women are always like, I don't understand. I have 16 ex-boyfriends and they all hate me, but it's not me, it's them. It's like, whatever you say. Long story short, let me know in the comments what you think about Joy Behar getting turned on by Joe Biden. I want to say this too. I talked about Joy Reid saying she got into college via affirmative action, and it was just a funny little comedy clip, and people were getting mad on my Instagram, and they were like, oh, you took that clip out of context. Oh, she's not stupid. She could have got into another school. Listen, there's very stupid people who graduate from Harvard without affirmative action. I just want to make myself clear. I think Joy Reid, excuse me, not Joy Behar. Joy Behar was the one in that clip, but Joy Reid. I think Joy Reid is stupid. I don't care if she went to Harvard or didn't graduate high school. She seems dumb to me. There's people who graduated Yale and they're stupid. In my opinion, intellectualism and being honest and having integrity is not the same as being a goody two-shoes in school and doing everything they tell you to do. Education's important. Math, learning to read. I'm not against education. It's a beautiful thing. But what you're seeing at a lot of these schools like Harvard, it's turning into a lot of indoctrination, and sometimes more indoctrination than education. So I just want to like double down, because people were like, oh, you took that clip out of context. Whether she went to Harvard or not, I think Joy Reid is stupid. If you don't, that's fine. You could think she's a genius, but I don't, I think people with no high school diploma are smarter if they actually have common sense and basic, logic, versus somebody who has a PhD, but they're an idiot and they can't even like tell the truth about what color the sky is today. So I don't think she's smart, and I'm not going to pretend to, because people cried about my Instagram post. I had rapper friends of mine crying and stuff. And what was the full context of that clip that was so important? She said that sometimes rich people get into school and their kids get into school, so it's fine. Listen, I don't like when rich people's kids get into school. That's rich people affirmative action. I don't agree with that either. But what I'm going to say before I move on is, just because they let in Joy Reid or looked for Joy Reid because of the color of her skin plus her academics, now that they're not doing that anymore, it doesn't mean rich people's kids aren't going to get in. I'm sure they're still going to get in. That's not right. I don't agree with it, but I don't understand why people are like freaking out about that video. Like, oh, you're taking it out of context. I watched the full video. I'm not impressed. I didn't want to play a full clip and get demonetized. I just played a little clip and made a joke. But if you're so desperate to defend genius Joy Reid, go tell her how smart and great she is. It's just not what I'm going to do. So don't care. But good luck. Third story I want to talk about is Zelensky is outraged after Biden rejects Ukraine's NATO membership. Unprecedented and absurd. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to travel to NATO's 2-day summit, which is being hosted, and they're not letting him in. Dude, this guy is the ultimate grifter. I know in politics sometimes people say, oh, you're a grifter, you're a grifter. And listen, some people like the grip. You listen to the Hotep, they have grifter awards. They compliment, they credit the grift. They're like, you're grifting out there, but good job. All I'm saying is, like, the grifter of the century is Volodymyr Zelensky. This dude just takes and takes and takes and just sucks your money. And it's never enough for this guy. This guy's like, it's like a baby mama that you buy a new house for. She takes child support. You're giving her like 15,000% on top of the child support, and she still wants more. She still wants to suck every last dollar out of you. That's like Zelensky. It's like, what's wrong with this guy, bro? You're not satisfied with $100 billion. You get the jets, you get this, you get that. You get everything, bro. You get Vogue awards. You're out here probably may or may not be doing cocaine with celebrities. I have no idea, but it's not my responsibility to care. I don't know who's doing cocaine or not. I can only guess. All I'm saying is, jokes aside, what do you want, bro? You want everything? You get everything, but you can't have NATO, and he's crying. It's unprecedented and absurd when a time frame is not set, neither an invitation nor Ukraine's membership, while at the same time, vague wording about conditions is added even for inviting Ukraine, Zelensky said in a lengthy tweet this morning. And it's like, dude, this guy just cries. He's like, such a phony, man. It's so annoying. I'm not like the biggest Putin fan. I'm American, okay? I don't have to like or dislike anybody. I don't have to like Joe Biden because I'm American. I don't have to accept the narrative of Trump. I don't have to accept the left-wing or right-wing narrative. I'm free to use my own brain that God gave me. I don't have to like or dislike Putin just because they tell me to, and I don't have to like or dislike Zelensky. But Zelensky is way more annoying than Putin, in my opinion. This dude calls everybody like Hitler. Everybody's anti-Semitic. Wah, wah, wah. Give me the money. You know what I'm saying? NATO, why won't you let me in? It's like, the war's going on. We're giving them hundreds of billions of dollars. Now, apparently, I was laughing on Twitter. I follow Roseanne Barr. And apparently in a podcast, she called him a bad Jew. Roseanne's obviously Jewish also, but so is Zelensky. And she said he was a bad Jew. And Newsweek is like emailing her like, what did you mean by that? You know what I'm saying? Like she's getting in so much trouble because she's hilarious. But like they're like, don't say that. She's like, I can say whatever I want. I don't really care. It's a mess. Congratulations to BlackRock. They're going to coincidentally gain a like $500-600 billion contract. It's like start a war contract. Lindsey Graham's on stage at Trump rallies. I mean, it's just a joke at this point to me. But long story short, NATO doesn't seem to be accepting Ukraine. Joe Biden apparently said that he does not support Ukraine joining the alliance because, I don't know, this is the most passive aggressive war I've ever seen in my life. It's like, you can't join NATO, but we'll give you money. We're not fighting Russia, but we're giving you everything to fight Russia. But we're not in the war, but you are. But you can't join NATO because that might start a war, but we've already started the war. Like, America's that friend that just won't tell you the truth. Tell me how you really feel, America. You don't like Russia. You don't like Putin. You're trying to regime change him or do God knows what. Maybe it's just a whole BlackRock scheme so they could get billions of dollars. Maybe you're really fighting for democracy, but you're really not, because they don't even have a democracy in Ukraine. You know, they say they're fighting for democracy, but yet they ban 11 political parties. They consolidate the media into the hands of the state, and they might skip the next election, but that's why we're not there for democracy. Just tell us how you really feel. America's so passive aggressive. Like, it's annoying because I am American. I love America, but let's get back to the classic red, white, and blue. Let's just tell people how we really feel, whether they like it or not. We're like, we don't support terrorism, but we're going to give money to like terrorist groups to fight the other terrorists, aka the people who run the city. But we're not in the war, but we'll fund them. But we're not fighting Russia, but we can't let them in NATO. We're just doing everything for them. But it's not us, but it is us. It's like, bro, everybody knows what America's doing in Russia. So let's just stop pretending about it. So I'm glad they're not letting Ukraine into NATO, because it's not a good idea. But America is waging the most passive aggressive war I've ever seen in my life, and it's very bizarre. I want to talk about a few things at the end, and I think I'm going to turn on the comments now. So thank you guys on YouTube. If you do super chats, I'll try to read them. If I had the technology, I'd read everything on Facebook and YouTube. I don't, unfortunately. I don't have like the tech to get all the chats up there, but now I'm opening up YouTube chats. Thanks for your patience, YouTube. I want to talk about the Sound of Freedom documentary real quick, or the movie rather. It's not a doc, it's like a movie. And I want to talk from an analytical perspective about what both sides are saying. I haven't seen the movie, so I'm not going to give you a biased opinion about something I've never seen, but I kind of just want to talk about the backlash behind it. So the left wing is basically bashing it, saying QAnon. Maybe Jim Caviezel has said some stuff that I haven't seen. I've heard that he's like maybe said stuff or whatever, but every time that anybody talks about human trafficking, the left tries to tie it to QAnon, because QAnon just runs in circles around like every theory, so nothing really gets done. And they think that Trump is like in a Nikola Tesla time machine with JFK Jr. or something. So it's easy for the media to be like, yeah, everything is that. It's not true. Human trafficking's real. Child trafficking's real. I'm going to say this, okay? And I don't know if I should say this, but I don't care. Who's running? I've said this a few times, so whatever. Who's running on the platform of, if I get into office, I'm going to bring justice to the Epstein situation and everybody involved? Nobody. And the truth is, RFK's not running on that platform. Joe Biden's certainly not running on that platform. Donald Trump's not running on that platform. And Ron DeSantis is not running on that platform. I like something about all those people I just mentioned, except for Joe Biden, but nobody's running on exposing the Epstein tree and getting to the roots. Why? I don't think any of them care. I know you guys want to think that one of them really cares so much, but I like him and he must care. Tell me about it. But which one of them is coming out? Because they don't want to, because it's probably scary to do, because whoever Epstein was working for probably has influence over America, and they're all either complicit or afraid, and they don't want to say anything. And to some extent, I understand. But to me, we just had the biggest possible human trafficking, child trafficking, sex, blackmailing, whatever that guy was or whatever you think he was, get arrested. And none of his accomplices besides Ghislaine Maxwell really even got named. Or if the names drop, nothing happens and nobody knows. Isn't that like what actually matters when it comes to human trafficking? Like, isn't that the biggest story in the world? Who's connected to Epstein? It's the biggest story in the world, yet mysteriously, not Trump, not DeSantis, not RFK, and not Biden, not a single one of them is running on that platform, because as long as they could fight in circles, ooh, DeSantis is a meatball, ooh, Trump supports the LGBT too much. And I'm not saying these issues don't matter, except for the meatball thing. Obviously, that doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying? Oh, the Biden and, oh, we're going to beat the deep state. How? What do you do? You know, I'm not saying they're not doing anything. All I'm saying is not a single candidate, including RFK, is talking about this Epstein stuff, because they just let it brush off. It's like, whatever, that never happened. But here's a documentary that's not even a documentary. It's a movie. It's like a dramatic movie that is based on a true story, but I've heard elements of it aren't even true because it's a movie. I'm not saying Jim Caviezel is a bad guy. I have no idea. I'm not saying the movie's not great. I'm just saying in general, why isn't any president running on that? Because I don't think they really care that much. That's just my opinion. Now that I get to the Sound of Freedom, or Sounds of Freedom with an S, the left is trying to cover it all up and say human trafficking's QAnon, blah, 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 because they have to cover up child and human trafficking and act like it's not real. Why would the media act like it's not real? Maybe I think everybody knows the answer or whatever. And then you get to the right, and there's a lot of people that are saying that whoever funded it is some Mexican billionaire who's donated to the Clintons. And, there's a lot of theories, and I see people in the comments saying he's a Jesuit, he's a Catholic. Why are they not talking about the Pope, this and that? I'm going to say this as somebody who hasn't seen the movie, so I'm not going to judge it. When it comes to movies, anything is better than, like, I don't know. It's like, look, Gumby is a transgender now. Oh, look, Mr. Potato Head has 15 genders and he's coming for your kids. Or every Disney movie, everybody's gay. It's like, that's what you're dealing with. So in my view, the fact that they just put out a movie about human trafficking with a somewhat conservative guy or Christian or Catholic or whatever, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I'm not expecting this movie to like change the whole world. It's a movie. It's not even a documentary. I'm sorry I said that multiple times by mistake, but I kept correcting myself. It's a dramatic movie based on a true story with elements that aren't even real. I'm not mad at it. It's better than whatever else is out there. So at a certain point, I don't know what this guy's trying to do, but it's not like he's going to expose the whole Epstein family tree. He made a movie, and it's probably better than most movies. So I'm fine with people critiquing. I'm fine with people having their opinion. My opinion about your opinion doesn't matter, but that's how I view it personally. Is I'm not expecting this to do all this stuff. So if it was funded by this guy or he did this, I don't know. It is what it is. It's a movie. 99% of movies are liberal. There's very few conservative leaning movies at all or anything that matters. So if one conservative guy with Mel Gibson's help and some billionaire puts out a film about it, I'm not going to drag this guy down. You get what I'm saying? It's fine. It's a movie. It's something. In my view, people are saying it's a great movie. If I really am that mad at it, I'll try to make a better movie. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to take the one semi-conservative movie and drag it down. That's just not me. That's not my attitude. I'm fine with it. There should be more conservative movies, and that's what it is. When it comes to the funding, here's what I'm going to say, and it might bother some people, but I don't really care. Everybody in politics and everybody in media acts like they're above it. I could tell you this because I'm not taking donor money. I don't take money from foreign countries. I don't have a backer. You get what I'm saying? I just don't. Like, almost everybody does that, though. Like the right will be like, well, China, but then they'll make deals with Live Golf, who's funded by Saudi Arabia. And I'm not bashing it because who's worse, Saudi Arabia or liberals? I love America, but in many ways, Saudi Arabia is more conservative than liberals are. So if you got to pick one of them, work with who you got to work with. You shouldn't sell out the country to Saudi Arabia or sell out the country to China or sell out the country to Europe. But it is what it is. It's like TikTok's bad, but so is, liberal social media. So it's like everyone always tries to act like, oh, I would never take money from these people, but they're all taking money from donors. They're all making deals with foreign countries. China and America rely on each other. So if we ever stop taking Chinese goods, we'd probably die. And if China ever stopped taking America's money, they wouldn't be so strong. So we're all having this like passive aggressive battle. But the reality is both of these countries rely on each other. So I'm not saying it's a great thing, but I feel like people, as much as they act so ethical at the high levels of film and politics, they'll all take money from a foreign guy or, a person if they think they can outmaneuver them or, take the money and benefit from it. I know there was some Chinese guy behind, what was it, Getter or whatever, like Miles Guo. Like, I don't even know about that story. It's a little bit like people are like this and no, he's that. It is what it is. I mean, just don't sell out America. But if you got to take big money, a lot of people do that. They just pretend like they don't. I don't, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section. When it comes to billionaires and funding and stuff, what should you not do and do? I mean, I don't take money like that, but when I see some people be like, he took it from that, it's like, bro, he does billions of dollars of deals with China also. They just don't talk about it. So, and I'll say this with communist China too. I'm not Chinese. I'm not communist. I don't think it's a good system. And I'm grateful to live in America because I don't like to be suppressed and censored. I agree with liberty and God-given liberty, not, whatever China's doing. with that being said, though, you never hear me crying about the camps in China. It's not because I'm afraid to say it. I don't care. I don't go to China. I have nothing to hide. But it's like we'll be like, oh, look at the Uyghur concentration camps, and it's like, bro, our government locked us down for 2 years. Democrats locked us down for 2 years. A lot of Republicans locked us down for 3 months. Like, America's complicit. Oh, well, they deal drugs like the cartels. Dude, Big Pharma is the biggest cartel in the world. And you go to Colombia, the right wing does illegal drugs. When you get to America, they probably kill more people with their drugs. They just do it legally through government liability shields and complete socialist government scams because government's in on Big Pharma. I'm not saying that I love what China's doing, but I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not going to be like, oh, the Uyghur camp. It's like, bro, you couldn't even save your own country, So at least if you're going to criticize another country, be honest about yours. Oh, well, Saudi Arabia has no freedom. What type of freedom are you looking for? The freedom to steal like you have in San Francisco in many places? The freedom to do open sodomy in front of 3-year-olds like it happens in conservative states now because they can't even handle their own states? And you're going to bash Saudi Arabia for what? For keeping rainbow flags out of like sporting events? Like that's, and then Ted Cruz is crying about Uganda. Oh, they've gone too far. Ted, your state is further left than most Democrat states were 10 years ago. And you think your role in the world is to run over to Uganda and protect gay rights? I mean, some people like to do that. Me, I think it's kind of ridiculous. And I'm not afraid to criticize a foreign country or my country. It's just some people are like, oh, we got to stop doing business with China. It's like, we don't have the infrastructure to do that. We don't make enough stuff. And a lot of the people that say that, they're working with foreign countries also. Just don't sell your country out. Don't let another foreign country have leverage where you can't stand up for your own people. But with that being said, just because Sound of Freedom was financed by a guy, I'm not saying it's the best sign, but I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm not going to overly dunk on the movie because it's just a movie. It's not even a documentary. So it's better than most movies. I'm not asking them to reinvent the wheel. I haven't seen it, but I don't really care enough to drag this guy down. I'm more interested in making my own media, my own music, and hopefully it's so good that I don't have to, knock this guy but I'm not saying you can't do it. If you have some sort of intel that it's so bad, then share it. But it is what it is to me. The next thing I want to talk about is a few things I've seen with the Trump versus DeSantis stuff. And I have to ask my audience this, and I will, if you leave a comment, I will take it into consideration because at the end of the day, there is no show without you guys. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate everybody who supports on any level, sharing, etc. And I want to know the truth if I'm doing too much with this stuff or you think it's relevant and interesting. So before I get into it, I want to explain why I talk about stuff I see on Twitter and why I talk about the Trump and DeSantis thing. The reason I talk about it is because social media becomes a reality. Culture becomes reality. What people say is what people think. The media controls the minds of the masses. A lot of conservative influencers control the culture. Not every farmer in Iowa is paying attention. Not everybody's listening and cares about social media. But the reason I talk about it is not just to cry about things I hear on Twitter. It's because I think culture matters. And I think that the Republican culture is being kind of controlled in a certain way. And I don't frankly agree with it. So I want to say my opinion at least. That's why I talk about it. Not to moan about things I see. It's just I don't see it as, oh, that's just on Twitter and not in the real world. To me, that turns into like left-wingism where it's like, oh, we're going to let these kids go to left-wing schools and they'll grow up in the real world and they'll figure it out. And then the left wing went into the real world and a lot of them never changed, right? They turned the real world into the left-wing world because you just let them run off. And that's how I'm thinking. Someone's crying saying, oh, so now you unblock the comments. I already said you're super annoying, but I said at the beginning that it was going to be members only for the first half and the second half. No one's censoring you. You cry about being censored all the time. I'm censored. Say something of value and maybe I'll read it instead of crying. But anyway, long story short, the reason I talk about it is because I think that this culture becomes our movement and it's starting to seep out of just like a social media. Long story short, I will say my piece now, but let me know in the comments if you like that I talk about this stuff or you want me to just talk about news stories. So when it comes to the Trump versus DeSantis stuff, there's a few things that I've noticed recently. I'll start with a positive about Trump since people haven't heard a lot about that for me. He's definitely like a superstar, right? At a certain point, I think about it like a song. I like lyrics. Maybe you like lyrics, but if the sound is not good, people don't like it. I listen to, Spanish music. I speak a little Spanish, but honestly, I don't know everything in Spanish. So it's the sound, it's the instruments, it's the melody that matters in music. Lyrics do matter, meaning matters, but to be honest, music is also audio. So it's not just lyrics with no flow or swag or style, it's style also. When it comes to politics, it's the same. I think DeSantis has good policy, but the truth is Trump is really a rock star. Like he really is that guy. He walks into UFC, people cheer louder than they do for the UFC events. He walks with Dana White. He could pull up and people love him. They'll throw their pizza at him, be like, oh my God, Donald Trump, feed me pizza. You know, he walks into a pizzeria and people are like, oh my gosh, he's exposing the deep state. It's like the guy really is a superstar. And I think there is valid concern with people when they say that DeSantis's campaign, it's not got a lot of oomph to it. And it's like Vivek is running around mainstream media pretending like he's an outsider and people are buying it. But he's doing a good campaign. I don't trust Vivek. I don't dislike the guy or anything. I'm not going to hate on him, but I don't trust him. I would never vote for him. But apparently people are falling for whatever little thing he's doing. And he's running a successful campaign. Vivek is a marketing genius also. He's just, he went from a pharma guy. Now he's like, inserted himself into mainstream speaking events, and he's probably going to rake money from naive conservatives for the next 10 years. He's running a decent campaign. RFK's on the podcast. Trump is a superstar. And DeSantis is just not getting out there as much as he should. And I look at it like a song with lyrics. He's got maybe the best lyrics out of all of them. But the thing is, for some reason, he's just not hitting. And Trump is kind of like sucking up all the momentum and the attention, and he can't figure out a way to kind of like insert himself. And, Trump has branded DeSantis in a certain way and it's stuck. Even though a lot of things that Trump has branded DeSantis, Trump has also done. It's like a Sal Alinsky tactic. I'm just going to say these 4 things about DeSantis on loop, even though I'm also complicit in all of those things also. And I hire rhinos and I still hang out with rhinos. I'm just going to call him a rhino and keep looping. It's very Sal Alinsky-esque, but it's working. And at the end of the day, I could act like I'm so special, but I'm really not. And a lot of conservative influencers, they think they're God now. They think they can tell everybody what to do and everyone's going to listen. And the truth is, I know I'm not that influential. Yes, I do have influence. Yes, I do make an impact. But at the end of the day, my opinion doesn't matter. What really matters is who people vote for. So if this isn't true, but 80% of the Republican Party thinks it's true, it doesn't matter what I think. Trump's going to be the nominee. Even if everything he's accusing DeSantis of is also true about him, if people don't think it's true, then it doesn't matter. So I will say that Trump really does have superstar, rock star status. And I think he's getting ahead off of that. I think things can change. But, if you're going to go against Trump, he's no joke when it comes to media attention, nicknames, bashing you. You got to be ready, and we'll see what happens in the next year. I still think DeSantis could come back, but people like Vivek and RFK are doing a good job getting out to the public, and DeSantis isn't, in my opinion, and it's something that I think his campaign should think about. But, who knows? It's a long campaign. I'm not knocking the guy. I'm just saying I see that angle of it. Now I want to talk about some things I've been seeing, not to cry about them, but because I think it's culturally relevant. So apparently TPUSA is having some sort of event in West Palm Beach. I don't know if it's at a Trump event, like a Trump, property or not. But anyway, they have a bunch of speakers. And if you look at the speakers, it's Trump, it's Mike Lindell, it's Byron Donald. I think Vivek, grifted himself onto that one. It's basically like 99% just Trump sycophants and then Scott Presler. So long story short, they're doing an event for Trump. And now people are pushing this narrative, Jack Posobiec, Cerno. And, I like Jack and I like Cerno. No disrespect. I think they both do good work. And I've met both of them in person and they were cool with me. So Cerno also helped elevate me on Twitter. Like he retweeted me a lot. And I always appreciate that. I'm not one of these people who forgets like things that people did that were nice when they didn't have to. So I like these people. I'm not disliking them. I just disagree with them. And that's a human, thing to do. But anyway, they're pushing this narrative that apparently they invited DeSantis to attend the event and DeSantis said no to going to TPUSA. And they're like, that's a huge error. That's a huge mistake. And this is the question I have. Did they invite him to speak or did they invite him to attend? Because I'm guessing they didn't invite him to speak. If Trump's speaking, since him and DeSantis are beefing and running against each other, they're not going to book Trump and DeSantis for the same night. A year ago, it was Trump and DeSantis headlining TPUSA, and they spoke on different nights. So here's all I'm going to say. I feel like the right's being super disingenuous. if they didn't invite DeSantis to be a headliner like he would be, and they just said, hey, come attend an event. Here, come attend an event that Trump's speaking at with 99% Trump sycophants. Just come and hang out. And DeSantis is like, no, I'm not going to go there. And now they're trying to make it like a big deal. To me, it seems like a planted story. Like, we're not going to invite this guy to speak. We're just going to invite him to attend an event. And then we're going to act like it's so crazy that he doesn't attend the event when we knew he probably wouldn't come anyway. It just seems disingenuous. Someone said you're a pathetic loser anomaly. What are you even mad at? I don't even understand. I didn't even say anything that crazy today, but apparently everything I say is crazy now. Long story short, I don't know. I feel like the Trump side is winning in a post-truth world. Like, it doesn't matter if everything they say Trump's also guilty of. It doesn't matter if they just make up these like fake stories all the time and act like mean girls and do drama. The truth is it's working, in my opinion. We'll see what happens in the primary, but I don't agree with it. I'm not that easy to manipulate or fool. I'm not that emotional, but it doesn't matter. If most people are, then it's going to work. And I think it probably will work at this point. I've met people and talked to them, and it's like, I'll say something so basic and it's so shocking to them because the Trump echo chamber just keeps repeating the 4 things on loop. It's very like Hillary 2016. It's like, he's a rhino. Why? Because he hangs out with Jeb Bush. But so Trump had Lindsey Graham on stage. So when Trump does a rhino thing, it's a secret plan, or he made a mistake, or he's foolish. But when DeSantis does it, it's an irredeemable flaw. It's all fake. The right's fake now. Another thing that I've noticed is the right's becoming the left. I talked about it a little bit on my podcast before I left, but I'm scrolling on Twitter and I have a bunch of Trump people saying, oh, DeSantis is a bigot. They're using the word bigot now. Anti-gay. He's anti-gay. Why? Because he made a Caitlyn Jenner attack ad. Anomaly, you don't understand. Caitlyn Jenner's a real transgender, but Dylan Mulvaney's not. This is the right wing now. 5 weeks ago, there's only 2 genders. Now, if you put on a MAGA hat, you're a real trans. I mean, this is crazy stuff, guys. I mean, if you want to follow that stuff, it's fine. But I'm watching Trump campaign people call DeSantis a bigot and an anti-gay guy because he ran some ads about Pride Month and Trump's, transgender connections. This does not appeal. Like, I don't know. I guess it's like a liberal movement around a rock star where people don't actually have values or morals and they don't believe anything they say. They just kind of want to ride the coattails of a guy that they believe in. It's like a religion based around a guy that they like. Some people are Scientologists. I'm not sure what they're doing, but I don't bother them. Some people are Islamic. I don't bother them. I'm kind of just thinking it's a religion now that I just don't understand, and it's not for me, but I'm not going to cry about it and I'm not going to freak out about it. But I do a news show and I have an opinion, and I think it's pretty clear I'm a lot more honest than a lot of people. So I'm never going to lie. I'm never going to fake who I am for social circles, but I'm not going to like complain about it. I'm just going to do other stuff. I'm going to make more music. I'm going to make different videos. I'm going to do my job. But I'm starting to realize that like people don't care about the truth on the right wing. People don't really have values. It's like a big show, and maybe that's part human nature. I think, Kardashians gets more views than like the Christian channel because people find it more interesting. The drama between people and their wives gets more views than like some guy who just invented something. Maybe that's just human nature. I'm not mad at Republicans over it. It's a little disappointing, but I did think that we were above some of these things, and maybe that's my fault. The more I see, I'm like, wow, this is not where I thought things were going to go. But that's life. I didn't think we'd get locked down. We got locked down. I didn't think Trump was going to turn into a vaccine salesman and work with Bill Gates, but he did. And then if he did that, I didn't think no one would care, but apparently no one cares. The funniest thing about it is like, I feel like I'm living in a different reality than people. For example, if you watch my show and you watch Alex Jones's show, Alex Jones is way against the vaccine. Alex Jones is telling people it's a bioweapon. It's the worst thing in the world. It's deadly, blah, blah, blah. Alex Jones is one of the most outspoken people against the vaccine. And he's taken it to such escalation high levels that he's explained it 50 different ways as it's like the worst thing in the world. Yet Alex Jones is endorsing the guy who took a meeting with Bill Gates, passed this thing through executive order, and sold the product that Alex Jones is telling everyone Alex Jones is telling everybody it's a bioweapon. So it's like, does Alex Jones even believe himself? If he thinks it's a bioweapon, Why would he endorse the guy that funded that? You get what I feel like everyone's being super fake. Like, why are people so, if you truly believe that, there's no way you could support that. But he does. It's like no one's being authentic anymore. They're all just like riding coattails and lying and becoming liberals. It's very bizarre. Why I gotta like block somebody real quick. Apologize. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you disagree, but if you're just gonna spam curses and like act hysterical, I gotta block you. I don't want to, but like you're being insane. Sorry. I'm just blocking someone. Some queen person just like effing this, effing that. Rah, rah, rah. It's like, yo, chill out. This is why I do the members only, by the way. I don't do the members only just because it's like, oh, I'm afraid of one, it's a new way to experiment with monetization, but also there's people that just spam all the time on YouTube and I don't have time to like edit it all. So if you can't act normal, be like, I disagree vehemently. Here's why. I don't care. I like that. But like, yeah, and now I can't see other comments. Anyway, let me read some comments. Ban Mailer said, some people have put a lot of hope in the Republican Party. I think so. And, I hope people are listening because I've cracked the code and it's so obvious what's going on. They control the Overton window. So this, like, if you could see on the screen, this is what it means to be left and this is what it means to be right. And the powers that be move the whole arena towards the left. So now you have right wingers calling each other bigots and anti-gay and transphobes. And 10 years ago, everybody knew that wasn't even a thing. So it's like now the Trump movement's further left than Obama was in multiple different, but nobody realized. They think it's hate speech when I say it because they like Trump. I don't hate the guy. He's a rock star. He's a cool guy. I mean, I'm not a fan of him anymore because I think he's very deceptive, but I get it. He's better than Biden. I'll vote for him over Biden probably, but I'm getting close. I'm not going to lie. I'm not an emotional voter, but I'm getting close to just wanting to sit it all out. Now I understand the anarchist type people. I'm not an anarchist by any means, but it's just like where they're like, I don't vote. I don't care. I'm starting not to care because I see how disgusting so many of these Republican operatives are. And I'm like, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to understand the let it all burn theory, which is like, it's going to get bad anyway. Might as well get bad now. So people wake up and it goes in the other direction. I'm starting to feel that way where it's like, if you're living a lie and the Republicans don't understand it, it doesn't matter what my or your opinion is. If it's really as bad as I think it is, it's going to get to that point and you're going to figure it out just like the left will figure it out. Let me give you an example. San Francisco is a failing city. It's beautiful. It's got money. There's nice things in it. There's good people, but they're not living in reality. So if they don't want to learn, they're learning now. You get what I'm saying? I don't believe in the right-wing theory. Well, your car just got robbed 5 times in a week. So now do you believe it? You still don't like, you get what I'm saying? Whether they want to admit they're wrong or not, life will seep in and it's already seeping in. People that work for CNN are getting robbed in San Francisco all the time. It doesn't matter what their opinion is. It doesn't matter what my opinion is. If that's what's going on, they're going to figure it out. So I see the right as the same way, whether they want to hear what I'm saying or not. If I'm right about this, like I feel like I'm right about where San Francisco is heading, it's going to happen anyway. So I'm at the point now where it's like, might as well get it out of the way now. I don't care. I'm getting so close to not caring because I see like if the left 10 years ago said biological men are biological men and biological women are biological women, and now the Trump campaign is calling people bigots and anti-gay for having the stance that everyone had 5 years ago, I don't want to vote for this party. I feel no inspiration. For a few judges, sure. Maybe I'll vote for judges, but the right is further left socially than the left was 7 years ago. And they're starting to use the words of the enemy. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. Oh, you're a bigot. Oh, you're a homophobe. Oh, you're anti-Caitlyn Jenner. Like this is real stuff that's happening from high-level Trump people because DeSantis is putting out an ad pointing out the fact that, Trump is kind of liberal on that stance. He was one of the trailblazers of the transgender stuff in America. He overturned Miss Universe in 2012. Google it. He was the one who said, no, I think a biologically born male should compete with the women. So if you guys are against men taking women's stuff or transgenders taking women's stuff, however you look at it, Go no further than Donald Trump and Caitlyn Jenner, two of the trailblazers who normalized this in America. But now the Republican Party is the party of Donald Trump and Caitlyn Jenner. And if you disagree, you're an anti-gay bigot. Like, this is being put out by the Trump campaign, and I don't want to vote for this. I'm not saying I'm going to be emotional and cry, but it's like, I think this movement's going to hell. And I'm at the point now where it's like, it's going to happen whether they win or lose. So might as well just sit back, watch it happen, and then hope that the pendulum swings back at the right time. And this is another thing I said a while ago, and people don't get what I mean. I'm not blaming Donald Trump for the lockdown. I don't think he's solely responsible. Most countries in the world did it. The left did it. Most people on the right did it. I would say shout out credit to Kristi Noem, who rejected it. Governor Kemp had better instinct than Trump. Even DeSantis did better than Trump, in my opinion. But long story short, I'm not blaming Trump for the lockdowns, but what I want to say to conservatives, Republicans, Trump supporters, and everyone, if you vote for your guy, right? We won the 2016 election. You won the 2016 election. We'll just say you won, right? And you still get locked down. You still get 15 days to slow the spread. You still get the communist money printing. You still get the extension of the 15 days to slow the spread. You still get Operation Warp Speed. You still get a failed economy. What does it mean to win if you lose when you win? Why do you lose when you win? Why do bad things happen when you win? Why does the left win when you win? How come the left dog walks all your politicians? How come he's on stage with Lindsey Graham? How come Epstein disappeared during your administration? How come no one cared? And then a year and a half later, everybody's stuck in a 15 days to slow the spread. I'm not blaming Trump or Republicans, but it's like, I guess I'm blaming the Republican Party a little bit. Like, they're further left economically than most Democrats were 7 years ago. If you're willing to do all that stuff, you get what I'm saying? It's like, you're not winning. The left dog walks your entire party and no one cares because they just want a Kardashian show. I'm getting to the point where I'm not mad. I'm not angry at it. It's just like, I can't fake it. And for like, I'm not going to get invited to events anymore. I understand that. You can't, like, you're not getting invited to Republican events unless you pull a Byron Donald, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, Trump, yeah, like that's where you get in. If you have critical thinking skills and you push back against both candidates and say intelligent stuff, you're not going to get booked anymore. You might as well just be a farmer bro turned conservative, grift your way through mainstream media, and people will think you're a hero, like Vivek. It's like, that guy's a genius, a marketing genius. It's like, that's who people want to vote for. Like, you don't know. Okay, sure. Whatever. Good luck. Someone said no Mar-a-Lago for you. It sucks. It's a great property. Someone said people defend kids having sex change operations. I haven't seen very much of that on the right. On the left, that's happening. But if you package it in the right way, people don't care. Like, people will be like, well, this transgender puts on a MAGA hat, so they're against it. And I'm like, I just showed you an article where they played golf tournaments with women, and they also have made a video to Trump saying that trans kids will win. It's like, no, that person actually doesn't support that. But if they're conservative enough, then people will like them. It's an interesting dynamic. And I don't talk about this stuff to complain. I just feel like the right is getting hijacked, like mentally hijacked by the new establishment, as I'd say. Like, there's a new right-wing establishment, and I'm not saying everybody's bad in it, but the same way that the mainstream media used to have power, now the Trump industrial complex has more power than Fox News. If Fox News says this, and the Trump industrial complex, everybody who likes Trump, all the influencers, TPUSA, etc., if they say this, people are not siding with Fox anymore. Like, Fox doesn't have the power it used to. MSNBC has no power when it comes to the right, except for the power to make everybody react to stuff. But you get what I'm saying? It's like the new establishment has more infrastructure to control where the party goes. And all I'm saying is this, not that these people are so bad, but if I'm looking at something and I know for sure the sky is blue today and they say it's purple, I'm not going to say it's purple just to get invited to events. Like, I actually believe what I say. I do news analysis. I analyze the news. I'm not a politician. A lot of people that are influencers are politicians. They're looking to self-serve. Listen, I want to make money like everybody else. I want a profession. I want to be able to feed my family for generations, but I'm a news analyst. I put the truth and what I really feel above other stuff. And that's what it is. A lot of people in this space are politicians, right? They're trying to be the next guy. And people like that. People like a good play like that as long as you say what they want to hear. Someone said, Anomaly, it sounds like, I'm going to read this comment. It sounds like you want someone other than Trump. Who do you really support? Well, let me explain this real quick. People get in this country what they deserve because they asked for it. So I don't blame the politicians like everybody else. If San Francisco votes for these people, you don't deserve a good city. San Francisco is not the victim. They keep voting for their own demise. Like, vote for a better person that's going to establish law and order to help you a little bit. So on the right, I don't think Trump is the problem. I think people's idol worship and double standards with Trump is the problem. Let me be clear. Trump himself is not the problem. People's reaction to Trump is the problem. It's like Trump never made the left go crazy. The left went crazy. Why did the left go crazy? Trump made me do. Trump didn't make you do that. Did Trump go to your house and poke you and, hurt you? No, Trump just talked on TV and the left lost their minds. They don't even know what they think about anything. They have to wait. Like, do we like vaccines? Do we hate vaccines? Do we trust it? Do we not? Tell us what to think. Trump did not make the left lose their minds. The left lost their minds. And with the right, I don't think Trump made people do this, but the movement around him now is just so fake because people don't actually believe anything. Like, if you believed that standing on a stage with a rhino or working with rhinos makes you an irredeemable rhino, then you would feel the same way about Trump, but you only feel it about DeSantis, which means you don't actually believe what you say. People were like making excuses for the Caitlyn Jenner stuff. If you believe in that, that's fine. Caitlyn Jenner seems like a nice person, but you were just saying yesterday a whole different thing. So this is the point that I'm saying. It's not Trump. It's the idol worship around Trump. He's the most dangerous Republican because he could do anything he wants and nobody will really do anything about it. They'll make an excuse for it or brush it off. So I think that the establishment and the elites are just going to dog walk him again or use him basically as a vehicle to push things that only Trump could justify and make conservatives just kind of flop like a fish for. With that being said, I think that RFK is an interesting candidate when it comes to big pharma, but he's a little too liberal for me. I like DeSantis better policy-wise. I think he's actually conservative. I think he actually believes what he does. He led the way with the school stuff and the sexualization of kids. Trump was nowhere to be found on that topic for 2 years. DeSantis led the charge against Gavin Newsom for 2 years when it came to COVID lockdowns after he messed up. He turned in the other direction. He was the one, he probably helped open the country more than Trump did with all of his leadership. So it's like, I'm looking at the policy. He's banning central bank digital currencies. He looks like a guy that doesn't talk, isn't flashy, but actually will push the conservative agenda through and also the agenda of Israel, just like Trump will, because that's just what they all do, which, some people realize that, some people don't. Some people call it hate speech, etc. But Trump also does it too. Long story short is I see the pros and cons in everybody. It's just like, I think DeSantis is more conservative in every way. I think he would beat Gavin Newsom and Biden. And I think Trump loses by 7 points to Newsom. And I think Trump probably loses to Joe Biden. And then Trump will never take accountability. He'll never talk about what he could have done different. He's the victim. He's going to run you in circles. He's going to tell you to go to the Capitol. He's going to blame Mike Pence. He's going to say the election's rigged, but not fix it, and then tell people to vote in the next election when it's the same exact election. Like, to me, he's the Pied Piper, but he's a rock star, and that's what people want. So, I don't even trust DeSantis, but I like that people don't like him that much, so they'll call him out. And I just think, like, if you look at the way he's led the country, he actually gets stuff done, and Trump just kind of like runs in circles. But, this is not a huge endorsement or me supporting him. It's just at this moment, I'm voting for DeSantis, but people want Trump. And that's what they're going to get. And, he'll run the show and you have no say and nobody will push back and they'll boo one day for 5 seconds and then cheer 5 seconds later. It's like the Jimmy Kimmel audience. Jimmy Kimmel's like, wait, you like James Comey, you hate James Comey. And the audience is like, we don't like James Comey. Oh, now we like James Comey. Like, in 30 seconds, Jimmy Kimmel's able, it's like Trump, like boo, cheer, but just put up with me. I'm just Lindsey Graham. Yeah, he sucks, but whatever. I'll change you guys. I'll fix you. And people, he's got the base under a spell. And I think his campaign is actually a little like, I don't think Trump has conviction on the school stuff. I just think he's like a really charismatic guy. But he's better than Biden, but it doesn't matter if he's better than Biden if he loses the election. And I guess I'm nervous about the fact that when I listen to people, they sound brainwashed to me. Let me explain myself. Please don't get upset. Just listen to me. You can get upset if you want, but I think I'm making sense. I understand that there's tomfoolery in the election. I can name 15 ways that they scammed everybody, but it's a circle and there's pieces of the pie. Well, the mass mail-in ballot piece is this. This is this. They suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story. We locked the country down, which was a bad move, and we shouldn't have done that because it made us look like we needed a change. Whatever. And if you're honest, you could look at the whole picture and be like, all right, this is how we win an election. With the Trump and everybody who follows him, it's just like the election's rigged. It doesn't matter. Well, then why are you so obsessed with Donald Trump if you think the election's rigged? Well, because I like him, but it doesn't matter. If DeSantis wins, they'll be like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's like, if it doesn't matter, why are you on Twitter every day saying that you care so much because you want Donald Trump to win? How's he going to win if you think it's rigged? He didn't fix anything. It's not like he went around the country and fixed everything. You know who fixed stuff? DeSantis, and won a landslide. You know who fixed stuff? Governor Kemp, and won. Governor Kemp won and Herschel Walker lost in Georgia because Governor Kemp actually opened the country up before Trump, and conservatives rewarded him for opening Georgia a month before Trump wanted him to. That's what Kemp did, and he won the election over the Trump people. Dr. Oz was a failure in Pennsylvania, and a liberal, by the way. All I'm saying is, like, how are you going to win the election? What are you doing they're not doing anything to fix it. When you ask Trump, how are you going to win suburban women and people on the fence? And he just starts talking about the election being stolen. It's like, bro, if you think it's 100% stolen, don't run. If you think it's only partially stolen and you could still win, which he obviously does because he's running, then you do have to campaign. The Trump campaign is so arrogant. He thinks he doesn't have to get suburban women. He thinks he's so great. He already did. The truth is, a lot of people like Trump and a lot of people don't. A lot of women don't like Trump. A lot of conservative women don't even like Trump. Some of them would literally probably leave their husbands for him, obviously. But a lot of them are like, I'll vote for him because I'm conservative, but I'm not a fan of him. There's a lot of people. So it's like, all I'm saying is, to win an election, you have to look at what you can and can't do and do what you can do and fix what you can and then move on. You can't just say the election's rigged, and then like not even talk about how you're going to win over people. Trump's probably going to lose by 10 points to Gavin Newsom. He'll probably do a 50-50 coin flip to Joe Biden. I think DeSantis wins both, and he leads more conservatively and does all the same stuff Trump does. But the MAGA, like, Republicans have a fetish for losing. They love getting scammed. It's like they love getting scammed into the Iraq war. They love George Bush for 8 years. They love the fact that Trump printed more money than Obama, but it's hate speech to talk about it. They love Operation Warp Speed because Trump tricked them into liking it. But if Mitt Romney did that and Hillary did that, they wouldn't like it. But when Trump does it, now David Harris and all these people are making excuses for it that they don't believe. If I could switch the results without David Harris knowing and say Mitt Romney or Hillary Clinton or, DeSantis did that, he'd be like, oh, that's socialism, that's corrupt, that's big pharma tyranny. But when Trump does it, maybe it saved the world. Yeah, and maybe you just want to eat steaks and sell t-shirts. Do you really believe that, or are you just pretending to believe that? So you get what I'm saying? It's a joke now. So everybody wants this and wants that. Republicans deserve to lose, and they probably will. You got to win a general election. You're not going to with a guy that doesn't even feel, he's so narcissistic that he thinks he doesn't have to campaign to suburban women because he thinks that everything was taken from him. If it was all taken from you, what have you fixed, bro? Nothing has changed about the election. The only states that actually changed something and won are states that you're calling meatballs and you're attacking the governors there. So it's like, on what planet is this going to work? It's not going to work. But here's the thing. I'm going to explain this too, because as much as I'm like everyone else, of course I want a career. Of course I want to make money. I'm not stupid. I'm not trying to be broke. But at the same time, my best videos that I've ever made are convincing. I'm not self-serving saying, oh, let me just grift as much as I can off my audience. No, I'm like, how do I reach Democrats? My biggest video got millions of Democrats to switch their parties because they figured it out, because I'm trying to basically get the message to people who haven't heard it. I know that people agree with me, but we need to wake up people that don't get it yet. That's all my content. Most MAGA influencers are MAGA, 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 MAGA. They're not trying to wake people up. They're not trying to win an election. They don't even care. They're just grifting and just sucking as much money out of the MAGA base as they possibly can, slurping down steaks, getting paid to go speaking gigs, saying the same things that everyone else is saying. Close your eyes. You don't even know who it is because they all sound the same. They're all NPCs now. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying, to win the next election, you got to get people that don't understand you. But MAGA's not even trying. They think they don't have to try. They're so arrogant. They're like, we all agree with what we say, so screw you if you don't. Oh, that's a great campaign strategy. DeSantis wins by 10 points. Trump probably loses. Oh, but I don't like Biden. Well, it doesn't matter if Joe Biden gets in. And if you're going to sit and lie to yourself and say, oh, Trump, I would rather have Biden than DeSantis. Really? You want those judges? You think it's like, you think DeSantis is going to be that much worse than Donald Trump? He's not. He'll probably hire better people. The only thing that I think is truly valid that Trump is more trustworthy on is the war stuff. And that's a very valid response because it's sucking money out of us. And I think that, DeSantis, I don't really know where he feels about Ukraine. He doesn't seem like he has that much of a spine for that. But all I'm saying is, like, I want to win the next election. How are we going to win with all of this stupid behavior? It's all stupid, but people don't get it. So that's why I say Republicans have a fetish for losing. It's almost like they want to lose. Like, when they win, they lose. When they lose, they lose. They want to lose and they'll never take accountability. It's like we're caught in a loop. Trump has people caught in a loop. And it's like, if he loses the election, you think he's going to take an ounce of accountability? Of course not. He's going to keep you on a loop for 10 years as Democrats bash you and be like, we couldn't have done anything better. It's all them. All they did was cheat. We didn't do anything. It's like, okay, well, how did they cheat? Well, the mass mail-in ballots. Well, why were the mass mail-in ballots there? Because of the lockdown. Did you support the lockdown? Yes. Did you extend the lockdown? Yes. So you're complicit. If Trump would have opened the country after 15 days, I would have said, it sucks he shut down for 15 days, but at least he tried. He extended the lockdown. He extended the lockdown for 15 days. And then Governor Kemp opened and Trump told him to shut back down. And that's why Governor Kemp won the election. And that's why Herschel Walker lost, because he's not as good of a candidate as Governor Kemp. But who does MAGA hate? Governor Kemp. Who does MAGA hate? Ron DeSantis. The only Republicans that actually figured out how to win the elections are the ones that everyone's so mad at. And then you got Mike Lindell saying that DeSantis cheated. I think DeSantis cheated. Do you have any evidence? Of course he doesn't. All he does is just grift and sell pillows. It's like, that's cool. But, if we lose, we got cheated. When we win, we cheated. Is there a chance that maybe you can learn something from Ron DeSantis and Governor Kemp about how to win elections? No, you just want to run around selling pillows and fake stories and fairy tales and getting speaking gigs. It's like a joke. I'm not saying he's a bad person. It's just like, the guys who actually won an election are the ones getting bashed. And MAGA is so narcissistic, they can't be like, all right, I don't like Ron DeSantis, but there's something he did right. There's something that he did to win the election, and we should figure it out. Like, did he have one-day voting? Yes. Does he count the things quick? Yes. Oh, no, but Mike Lindell says he cheated. Why? Because Mike Lindell likes Trump. If DeSantis didn't run for president, do you think Mike Lindell would have said that he cheated? Of course not. So does Mike Lindell even believe that? If he only says it because DeSantis challenged Trump, and if DeSantis was a Trump supporter, he would have never said that? No, it's all a joke. The biggest grifters and the biggest exaggerators are the ones who make money off MAGA. They just suck you dry. They make no effort to reach out to other people. They make no effort to campaign. If you ask how they're going to win women, they just say it was stolen, as if they don't even have to campaign. It's a joke, but it's a profitable joke. So if people get it, they get it. If they don't, I'm not going to stop you. I don't go to San Francisco and tell them to be conservative. I'm not going to go to MAGA and tell them what to think. This is my channel. It's my page. I understand that what I'm doing is less profitable. I just don't particularly care. I'd lose it all to stand up for what I believe. And that's how I got here in the first place, by not caring about that. So I'm not going to start being fake now. It doesn't work for me. It's not on brand. Someone said, I don't think DeSantis will keep the war going. He's a veteran. Honestly, here's an unpopular opinion, but in general, I think that the next war is against Iran, and Trump and DeSantis will probably both start it, in my opinion. I think they want to start a war with Iran. I don't know if they'll be successful, but Trump already killed Soleimani, who was fighting ISIS, by the way. And, it's like DeSantis and Trump, they both are subservient to the country who wants to fight Iran. And we want to fight Iran too, our military industrial complex. So, part of me, I'm not saying that this is all planned, but let me just explain how I see it in some ways. And it's like, ready? Obama, George Bush starts the war. Let's just go back from Bush to now. George Bush starts the wars, right? He's like, you need to be a patriot and start the wars. And he cons conservatives for 8 years, and everybody falls for it. America, 9/11 was sad, so we got to go fight. People had nothing to do with it or whatever. And then people finally figured out that George Bush was a phony after 8 years, and a war started, and they wanted something new. And who did the establishment give you? Obama. He's half black. He's cool. He's well-spoken. You know what I'm saying? He's different. He's so liberal. He wins office by the way, further right than Trump and the Republican Party is now, because he was against gay marriage when he ran for office because he couldn't win in America. But now the Republican Party is further left than Obama was when he got in office, and no one even realizes. They're calling people bigots for disagreeing with Caitlyn Jenner. It's pathetic. But anyway, then Obama wins. He does exactly what he needs to do. He starts way more wars. Nobody realizes because Obama's a liberal. He does Obamacare. He implodes our health system and makes it even shittier than it was. And then 8 years of Obama, and everybody woke up because most Americans pay for health insurance and they realized that he scammed them. So now what? Now we need the other side. We need a guy. We need a Republican. We need who comes out. It's Donald Trump. He's an outsider. He's too rich. He's not going to take their money. He gets in. He takes their money. He takes donor money. He takes corporate money. He lied about not taking money, but nobody cares because they like him so much. Okay. He did a good job for a couple of years. I think he did a great job. And then the lockdown happened. And then all of a sudden he went from a skeptic of vaccines who thought they caused diseases to a bigger salesman than Bill Gates, who does socialism, who prints UBI socialist COVID checks and runs around the country telling everybody that he's the father of the vaccine. And then no one cares. And then who gets into office? Joe Biden. And people say, well, Trump didn't mandate the vaccine, which is true, but he doesn't need to mandate the vaccine because he's not even in there anymore. So Trump did his part. He got the country locked down. He extended 15 days to slow the spread. He pushed the Bill Gates agenda. He did Operation Warp Speed. He passed communist policies saying that the CDC can strong arm landlords. I mean, total communist stuff that he signed through executive order. And now he's out of office. Oh, who's in there? Oh, what a coincidence. Joe Biden, who's going to take the product that Trump's the father of, mandated in your harm, while Trump runs around Newsmax saying there would have been no mandates if I was in office because everybody wanted to get the shot. Like, Trump's so delusional. He thinks Republicans wanted to get the shot and they only didn't want it for Joe Biden. Seriously. He said that for multiple times, but you'll never hear that because nobody actually cares. So then it's like, okay, well, now Joe Biden's in. And now what's going on? Now the right's further left than Obama was. They're fighting over DeSantis, blah, blah, blah. You know, Joe Biden's doing a terrible job, but he did what he had to do. He helped start a war in Ukraine, or mysteriously, you know, Putin invaded just like he did when a Democrat's in office. So now the war in Ukraine's running its end. Well, who's going to get into office next? Maybe it's going to be a Republican. Maybe the Republican's going to start a war with Iran. Who wants to start a war with Iran more than Trump and DeSantis? Because they work for, you know, people who want a war with Iran. I don't love the nation of Iran or anything. It's not like I'm obsessed with their politicians, but you get what I say. I don't think we should start a war with them, but you know, I feel like, all right, we did this. Now go. It's like a Hegelian dialectic. It's like, do what we need to do, get this guy in office. Do what we need to do, get this guy in office. Do what we need to do, get this guy in office. Do what we need to do, get this guy into office. And then when it's all said and done, you look at your party, and your party's literally further left than Obama was when he got into office, and nobody even cares. And if you bring it up, they call you a bigot now, as if they're a Sean King parody account. I mean, do you get what's going on? The Overton window sliding, the elites always get what they want. And it's not like I'm blaming Trump for this. I'm just saying the reason they do it is because people can't figure it out. People act like sheep, so they get treated like a sheep. It would be like saying, don't treat me like a dog, but you're on your all fours, like wagging your tail. It's like you're acting like one. You know, I'm not trying to treat you like one, but you got a doggy bowl there, you got a collar on, and you're panting and drooling on the floor. What do you expect me to treat you like? Have some respect for yourself. So the left has no respect for themselves. They're completely bamboozled by every social obvious con. You know, they're falling so far that it's insane that they even believe half the stuff that they believe. And that's like half the country and most of the youth. So what's going to be the future of the country? The youth. Who has the youth? It's mostly liberal right now, and they're further left than they've ever done, and they're not converting like they used to. That's not good. That's why the left does that. They're bringing in people from countries, giving them free stuff, knowing that they'll vote Democrat because they get their stuff from there, and they might get a visa or a passport easier through the left. So they vote for these people. And then what's the right doing? Crying about DeSantis transgender ads and calling him a homophobe, when even 10 years ago, even Obama didn't run on gay marriage. California in the 2000s voted against gay marriage. California was further right in 2008 than the Republican Party is now. And if you challenge them, they call you a bigot and anti-gay now, if you feel like Democrats used to feel. So I'm not saying this to complain. I'm just telling people how the system works. In that little 5-minute rant, I explained it more thoroughly than most influencers could in their wildest dreams. And not only are they not smart enough to do it, but even if they were, they're probably too fake that they wouldn't do it anyway, even if they knew what I knew. So it's like, that's what's going on. It's not a black pill. I'm just saying, if people wake up and demand respect, you get it. If not, you know, rich people just run you in circles, and they don't care, you know. And I'm not saying it's right that they do it. It's wrong. But if people don't want to stand up for themselves, then I don't feel bad for our movement. It's not Trump's fault. Trump didn't make you do that. You did it. You know what I'm saying? Trump didn't make you go crazy on the left. You chose to react that way to Trump, and it's insane. It's weird. And then you go to the right, like Trump's not making you like lose your mind over him. You're doing that. So if you do that, you're gonna like it is what it is, you know? Someone said your opinion, no facts. Name a disagree then. Say something. Someone said, I doubt that US has so much military power. I don't know what you mean. Let's see. JC says the progressive push for every chaos causing this, they can get conservatives, just slow them down by a decade or so. It's even in the names. Yeah, the left runs the right because they just move the right. Even when the right gets power, they move society, they move culture. They somehow get the right-wing politicians to do exactly what they want. Do you see conservatives having huge wins with Joe Biden? Like, is Joe Biden like, okay, I'm going to finish the wall? You don't see Joe Biden doing anything for conservatives. I mean, he does little things here or there that are like establishment status quo stuff. But as far as like the conservative agenda, Joe Biden's doing like nothing for them, you know. But when the right gets in, the right does everything the left wants, or 90%. And then what does the right say? They go, oh, he had to. Oh, he's trying to please them. Oh, he's trying to get votes. He's not trying to get votes. He's just doing what the Democrat establishment wants. You don't have to cave that much to get votes. He's not getting votes from the left. The left still doesn't like him. They gave him no credit for the vaccine. And most of the country now doesn't even want the booster shot. So Trump is now pandering to Bill Gates. He's pandering to pharmacy lobbyists, and he's pandering to like 15% of the country. Even there's Democrat athletes who got 4 vaccines who feel like they got scammed. You think Trump's selling it still? Because he's not trying to get votes. He's putting you through a humiliation ritual. He's looking at Republicans and saying, how much can I do to you? And you'll still cheer for me and you'll still roll over for me. And it works. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not even mad at him. It's like, if that's how people act, why not? He's the boss. You're just follower number 7,765. You know, he's a boss. He's like a Don Dada. He goes to UFC events. He gets cheered. He's a rock star. He's a celebrity. I'm not mad at the guy. Have fun. Run it. You know, you're the man. Everybody else, they're just on the train. And that's the way it is, you know. I talked to this guy from Colombia, and he said to me, I asked him about politics, and he said, you know, I said, how is it in Colombia? He goes, the left are communists and the right are drug dealers. And, you know, and he's like, but I was like, but does the right wing in Colombia, they like the country? And he said, yeah. And I said, but the left wing, they hate the country, right? Yeah. He's like, they're communists. So I was joking with him. I said, so he's like, you know, I don't like the right. They're corrupt, but I vote for them. And it's the same in America. It's like the left are almost literally communists, and the right, I'm not going to say they're drug dealers, although kind of, I mean, Trump, Operation Warp Speed was a drug deal. It's just legal drugs instead of like narco stuff. So it's like the same thing in the America. It's like you're either voting for literal communists or, you know, like mob bosses that are not really who they pretend to be. I'm just, you know, and it's what it is. You only have 2 options. And that's why I vote for the Republican Party, because it's the lesser of 2 evils. But I guess all I'm saying is, like, in America, this is not Colombia. You know, yeah, it's corrupt. Yeah, it's still a country, but we do have a special country. We do have a special court system. We do have a special constitution. Like, we should, as Americans, either use it or lose it. There's that old saying, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. We're losing our country because we don't use it. And the easy thing to say is, here, promo code, you know, MyPillow, whatever, you're the best. We're owning the left. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Sure. You know, and sell. I'm not knocking people selling. Make your money. I'm just saying that's the easy thing to tell people. The truth is, the left is so far gone that even the right's far gone. And the problem is that we need to kind of hold our ground a little harder, because even when we win, we lose. But that's not as like sexy of a message. You know what I'm saying? It's not sexy. So people don't say it because it's like, yeah, you're the best. You're the best. We're crushing the side. Are we though? Are we really crushing the left? I don't know. Someone said not ride the fence. I'm not right. It's not riding the fence to see through both sides. It's like, I'll vote for these people, but I don't know. Part of me is starting to feel like I want to sit it out, because I feel like the pendulum is going to swing back, and it needs to get worse before it swings back, and it's going to get worse either way. So, you know, if I vote Republican, it's going to be for the judges, the Supreme Court judges. I want Clarence Thomas whenever he leaves to be replaced by a Republican, not a Democrat. That's why I'll probably vote Republican. Republicans will get a Republican judge in there. That's really it. I don't even like 90% of like what Republicans are saying now. They're like, we want to start a war with the cartels. Why? Cartels run Mexican cities. Why are you going to go to a foreign country and start another war? If cartels come to America, prosecute them. You know what I'm saying? This is your country. Once they cross in, prosecute them. If they're committing crimes across both borders, handle your biz. But to say you're going to start a war, do you guys realize how much worse Mexico would be if major cartels weren't running the cities? You eliminate the major cartels, these cities are going to collapse, the border's going to get flooded, and our country's going to get overrun even more. A lot of the reason our country's even getting overrun is because we've destabilized through intelligence groups and stuff foreign countries before. I'm not saying that that we're completely to blame, but it's like the refugee crisis in Syria was caused when we started a war in Syria, and now they're scamming us, and now they're lying, and now they're flooding Europe. But we always start it, and then it happens. It's like, I don't even want to vote for this Republican Party. You guys are going to start a war with the cartels that's Marjorie Taylor Greene's policy, that's Trump's policy, that's Dan Crenshaw's policy. Like, they're running on labeling cartel groups domestic terrorists, going to Mexico and fighting cartels. If the cartels didn't run all the big cities and it was the smaller cartels that got to take advantage, you're going to have more murders in Mexico. It's going to be unstable. Our border's going to get flooded, and the left's going to win again. But that's the right. They're like, that's what they're running on. They're like, yeah, you're a bigot, and we're going to go start another war. But we're not Joe Biden. And it's like, yeah, that's true. That's why I'd probably vote for you still, just for a Clarence. I'll hopefully get another Clarence Thomas or something. Probably not. You'll probably pick a stupid judge that votes liberal half the time, but whatever. Still better than whoever Joe Biden picked that's going to vote liberal 100% of the time. It's not black pill. I'm just a realistic. That's how I see it. It's like, I'll probably vote for this party because they're going to do slightly more things. But like, listen to the average person. They're not saying that. They're like, oh, we're going to save the planet to get. It's like, whatever, dude. Let me read. Someone said we're opposed to all Satan's thieves. Technically, they are Babylonian. All right. Let me see. Grandfather at 44. Yikes. I don't know what you're saying. Why is that yikes? I mean, if you had kids in your 20s, that's kind of good, right? I don't know. It's nothing wrong with that. I don't even know what you're talking about. Someone said the men that should be strong right now are being made to be confused about their gender, but it's a plan to make America weak. I agree, and I think that the left is doing really well with that. They're getting the kids to really change. And I don't want to be a hypocrite or talk about things that I don't do, because eventually my job is to be my own parent, and you get what I'm saying, raise kids, etc. But I do feel like, and don't hate me for saying this, but I do feel like most Republicans aren't even that conservative. Like, they're just like, they like sports. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a MAGA. Like, I won't even raise my kid, but MAGA. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to drink beer, but MAGA. Like, not everybody does that. I'm not saying there are some great parents and people really doing stuff. There's millions of great people. But the average, like, sentiment I get, like, if I say something, people are like, shut up, I don't want to. It's like they don't even want to it's like, I'm right, and we're fighting the left. And it's like, we're losing in the schools. It's not me complaining. It's just like, did you guys see in New Jersey, there's like a 5,000% non-binary increase or whatever, or some crazy percentage? Let me look at the increase. And I guarantee you it's not all liberal parents. I bet you there's thousands of conservatives who have lost their children to the wicked left. Let's see. Non-binary New Jersey increase. How much does it increase? Let's see. There's a 4,000% spike in non-binary kids in New Jersey. That's not winning. We're not winning the youth. That's massive loss. And they're probably not all liberals. Probably most liberal parents, but some aren't. I don't know. I think it's going to take more than idol worship over a guy selling vaccines for Bill Gates to fix the country. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. That's why I'm becoming like let me just fall back, watch everything go to shit, and then we'll fix it. We'll all unite in a couple years again, but it's going to have to get ugly first. I don't want it to happen, but I don't know. I want to just read some of the comments. Who's the governor that has pushed the hardest against the kids' school stuff? Which governor has led the way, actually passing policy, actually standing up, and actually fixing their state to the most of their ability to make sure that kids are not being sexualized and, force-fed LGBT plus propaganda. Who is that in the country that has done that successfully on a state level? I'm going to read some of the comments in a second. Then I'll say the second part. Someone said DeSantis, DeSanctimonious, DeSantis. Pretty much everyone's saying DeSantis in the comments. Okay. So that's an important, right? I just said in New Jersey, 4,000% increase in non-binary. All right. So everyone agrees that DeSantis has pushed the hardest against it. Who's the least popular person in MAGA world right now, in MAGA planet? DeSantis. So the guy who's actually pushing against this agenda of the youth, which is, it's hard to say what's more important, but I would say if they brainwash all your kids in 20 years, this country's toast, 10 years even. So now the leading candidate, why are people so mad at DeSantis? Because he had the nerve to challenge Donald Trump. Find me videos. I don't even like DeSantis that much, like where I'm like, he's a politician. I don't trust him. But all the videos DeSantis are making are pushing Trump further right, not in a crazy way, not in like, oh, Trump needs to go further right, in a principled stance way. DeSantis is like, he led the way with this kids' school stuff. Trump ran around selling vaccines. That's why everyone liked him before Trump got arrested by Alvin Bragg. So, but now he's enemy number one. Why? What's he saying that's so bad? He's pushing policy that Trump ignores. And instead of people being like, yeah, maybe Trump should switch to that policy, people are like, oh, he's a meatball who's a rhino. Bro, everything he's saying about Trump is literal policy. He's like, you're more pro-trans than anybody was 10 years ago. You printed too much money during lockdowns, And then people are like, yeah, but, Jeb Bush, but not Lindsey Graham. It's like, okay, how is this I don't understand. I don't understand where this movement's going. So I'm like, all right, I'll cast my vote and see what happens. But to me, I don't get it. If DeSantis was running against Trump and Trump was making really good points that DeSantis wasn't making, I wouldn't cover it up and talk crap. I'd be like, no, Trump is actually right on that and DeSantis is wrong. I wouldn't be like, oh, it's like everything DeSantis says is like policy that makes more sense to what Trump says. And then Trump responds by saying something liberal and people are like, yeah, you're a bit. No joke. I've had like 10 people be like, he's a bigot for putting Caitlyn Jenner in an ad. He's anti-gay. If you don't celebrate Pride Month, you're anti-gay. No, yeah, MAGA. What do you want to fix the country or do you want to just drink beer, wearing a red hat, like acting like a tough guy? Like that's what the movement now is. It's like a hangout for people that don't actually want to do anything, but want to self-serve themselves and find like-minded people and pretend like they're doing something. Like, it's like, okay, but am I a hater for saying that? No, that's just what I think. I go do it. Have fun. I like to have fun. It's just, as a political movement, I'm like, what is this? Someone said RFK is pro-affirmative action. I rest my case. Yeah. And I mean, these things, if you don't agree with that, they should be challenged. The politicians are not your best friend. They're not your cousin. They're not coming to barbecue. They're politicians. They're running around the country, raising hundreds of millions of dollars, elevating themselves, selling books. You get what I'm saying? They're not your best friend. I'm not saying you got to hate them, but like, people fanboy over these people. Vivek is a genius for grifting off the right. I give him all the credit in the world. He was a pharma bro a year and a half ago. He said nothing during Trump's first term that I could see. He was nowhere to be found during lockdowns, but now all of a sudden he's a top 10 speaker in the Republican Party. People want to vote for him more than DeSantis, and they're like, oh, I love that guy. It's like, bro, what a genius that guy was. If you're so conservative and you're so pro-America, where were you during the lockdowns? Why were you selling vaccines hard and saying virtually nothing about it? And now all of a sudden, after 6 years of Trump and 2 years of pharma tyranny, now you're a top 10 Republican speaker. This party is the biggest joke. Mike Lindell, Carrie Lake, Vivek, like, it's just hilarious. Like, why wouldn't you? I'm actually, business-wise, I'm screwing up by telling you the truth. What I should do is just run around and say what people want to hear and act like I'm doing something, and people would give me $100 million. If I ran a political campaign and said, I'm running for president, and just sucked up all the media, I would make way more money. I don't know if you could keep it when you run for a political campaign, but it's like, you could sell your book, you can go on tour. Now you get, people love this stuff. It's ridiculous, but I would love to interview the guy. I'm not mad at him, but it's like, listen, everybody wakes up at a certain point, but from 2016 to 2020, our country was insane and you didn't say a single thing, right? Nothing. No. 2020, the country gets locked down. You were working with big pharma and the government. 20, and you're part of some Daisy Soros Foundation. 2021, 2022, you're selling the vaccine, and all of a sudden in 2022, 2020, now you're the most conservative person anyone's ever seen in the conservative party, and just you're leading everyone back to Trump, being like, "Oh, DeSantis sucks, but Trump's cool," and Trump's like, "I like that guy," and TPUSA books him for events. Oh yeah, this is totally organic, guys, just total organic conservatism here. Oh my gosh, but now I'm not trying to hate. It's just like it's so crazy. There's no like if you want to make money, there's no reason to tell Republicans the truth. The best way to make money on the Republican side is just to grift these people into like insanity. You know what I'm saying? Just doesn't matter who you are, what you really think. Just say what people want to hear a few times and put yourself in the spotlight, and people will throw money at you. And I'm not saying it's good. I'm not doing that. It's just like the fact that he's now like a top 10 speaker at a TPUSA event is ridiculous. Let me see. Someone said F journalists. They've always been slimy. It's true. Yeah, I mean, I've invited him on my platform. We'll see if he responds. But everybody always says he goes on every platform. He does. No, nobody answers my text. Oh, no, they see me in person. Not Vivek. I'm just saying. Normally, oh, I'd love to be on your show. And then they don't come on. They know I'm going to ask real questions. I'm not going to be a dick. I'm not going to like talk trash to somebody. I'm just going to do real journalism. If I interview Trump, I'd do a real interview. I'd butter him up a little bit, say nice things, but then tell the truth. Ask him questions. Like my question for Trump would be, did you offer Bill Gates a White House position? Most of your movement doesn't trust Bill Gates. Did you offer him a White House position? Did you pass what he told you through executive order in 2019? You bashed, Governor Kemp a lot, which is fine, but Governor Kemp opened the country and you said you recommended that he lock down. Are you willing to admit that Governor Kemp had more insight? Why do you think these people don't do interviews with me? No one asks them these questions. They play this like Hegelian dialectic, like left-wing, right-wing thing with people who either suck up to them or ask stupid questions, and it makes them look like they're amazing. I'd be super nice, but I know personally certain people in Congress, and they're like, I'll come on your show. They won't come on the show. I follow up and they won't say anything. Why? Because I'll ask real questions. I'm a real journalist. I'll do real analysis. I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going to be rude, but I'm going to give a real interview. They don't want a real interview. They want to go speak at TPUSA and suck up money and just be generic. So it's like, the invite's open for multiple congressmen. The invite's open for Vivek. And I'm not going to be rude to him. I'm going to compliment him, say some things. But my question for Vivek is, you say a lot of good things. I'm just curious. Everyone has an arc. Everyone has a story. I could explain my story of how I grew up, what I used to think, growing up in my 20s, learning about stuff, why I like Trump, why I didn't at first. I could explain this all thoroughly. And when I became a full-blown like, oh yeah, no, I'm way more conservative than liberal. Everyone has a story. There's nothing wrong with changing. But I want your story to make sense. It's like, so everyone could decide, but it's like, okay, you weren't this for like most of your adult life. You were this for most of your adult life. You said nothing. You worked with the government. You worked with pharma, right? You did all that. You were nowhere to be found when America needed you the most. And then you pop up and you're the most conservative person anyone's ever seen in the Republican Party. I'm just curious to how that all manifested itself. Did you think these things behind the scenes? Did you wake up and think this? Did you realize you were wrong? What was it that changed your career path that way? Nothing wrong with it, but I'm just curious that I want to ask those questions and see why that happened. And just, I think you could learn a lot by saying that. Yeah, I've invited him on. We'll see if it happens. Someone said, thought leaders fireman, can you make another banger and get angry in it, please? I'll make another song, but probably not like that style anytime soon, but I do have a few songs in the work. Appreciate it. Someone said Vivek's not running to win. These types run every election cycle. Yeah, but he's smart though. He's making money. He's elevating his status. He's getting booked for gigs, and he'll probably get a cabinet position in the Trump administration or get to do something. So I get it. Honestly, the reason I don't do that is I don't like politics, but also I'm not that desperate for attention. I think the media is insane. So, I wouldn't want that much attention, but it seems like he has a lot of connects in mainstream media. He's like, I don't know what the thing is or if they like having him on because he's well-spoken. if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with it. If you run a campaign and be like, listen, I probably won't win, but I will elevate my status and get in the cabinet. It's not a bad move. I'm not even mad at it. It's just I wouldn't want to do that. But I'm not also not like amazed by it. Like, wow, this is the most revolutionary thing I've ever heard. A lot of good stuff being said, a lot of good points being made. I just, I'm not a pessimistic person. I guess I just like I don't just believe everything I see now. I'm not like, oh, this person comes out of the woodworks like 5 weeks ago, and then oh my gosh, they're the greatest. Like, I don't know, let me take my time and just observe a little bit and see what's going on. But someone said, isn't political commentary in politics? I mean, I would say I'm not running a campaign. I don't have a nonprofit. I run my own business and I create news analysis and hip hop music. Is that affiliated with politics? Of course, I talk about it. Am I a politician? No. Am I running a campaign? No. Do I want to step into the limelight and say, I want to be this? Not right now. I'm too young. I can't even officially run for president. I'm not old enough. Some people want to rush it and do it in their 30s. That's cool. To me, 40s to 60 is a good age. I mean, 40 to maybe like 70 is a good age. 30s is, I mean, I'm not saying 30-year-olds are bad or anything, but to me, I think it's better to run for politics 40 to 70. I could try to pull an AOC or like Anna Paulina, and nothing against Anna Paulina. She's cool. I'm just saying I don't want to do that. It's not what I want to do. Media, social media, I like it a little bit. I'm interested in analyzing and kind of like cultural shift. If the Republican Party goes further left than the right and fails every time they win, and if the only way to make it in the Republican Party is to basically just play that game in order to not piss off certain people to get on cabinet positions or not piss off Trump's campaign or whatever, you get what I'm saying? Then maybe it would be worth it, but it's not a game I want to play, and it's not the time to do it. Timing is everything, so it wouldn't really make sense. I think if culture and media and music and that type of stuff doesn't reverse course, then politics doesn't matter. Like voting for two parties going in the same direction is going in the same direction. So I'm not acting like I'm so important, but I do think that media and culture stuff is more important than running for office. But if you run for office, you can change culture also just by speaking out, etc. So, Thomas Massey does that. Certain politicians do that. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't. I don't want to live in that world. I don't like DC. I've been there. I don't like politicians. I don't like most media. I don't. Do you see me running around television doing interviews? I don't want to do that. I like, even though I do media, I don't have to like hang out with people all the time and be like, I'm a media. I'm in media. I'm completely independent. I'm almost positive that I'm blacklisted by the music industry. They know who I am. They don't like me. They'll never invite me anywhere. I don't care. I make music. I have friends. I do shows. I get a decent amount of streams. I don't need their approval to make music and put it on Spotify. But as far as like the music industry, I'm not in the music industry. I have tens of millions of streams. I've done multiple shows in front of 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people. I have collaborations with big rock bands who've gone platinum. So I can do stuff that I want to do with them and other people that I know. But as far as like the music industry, I'm not in it. The news industry, do you guys see me? Does anybody have me on television often? Is Daily Wire chomping at the bits to get me I'm doing what I do and I do it well, but I don't think my style is compatible with certain companies. So, I mean, there is a company interested in me now because we have similar values and they're a little bit cooler and hipper, but in general, it is what it is. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, to people saying, I'm in politics. Kinda, I guess. I talk about it, but I'm not in politics. Media, yeah, I do media, but I don't. It's just me. I made my own business out of it. Hip hop music, it's just me. I made my own business out of it. It's not it's not like I'm in with the people, but it's cool. I network with people that I like, and people that I don't like, I don't care. I'm not seeking validation or approval to do something, but I wish Anomaly would have Rob Schneider on. I would love to. I love Rob Schneider. He's like a very authentic guy. That's a good guy. If you know him, hit him up. I could message him or something, but I do really like Rob Schneider. I think Jim Brewer's coming on this week or next week. I got to check actually, I don't know where my phone is, but I think it's this week, maybe Thursday or something. Jim Brewer's coming on. if anybody has a connect with Rob Schneider, that guy's awesome. He's very like chill. Always, he's very good on big pharma. That'll be a good time. I like Rob Schneider, but what good do interviews do? I mean, I don't know. What good does that comment do? I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying like it is what it is. I don't know. Entertainment, value. Maybe you laugh, maybe you learn something, maybe it's an interesting conversation. I listen to MMA podcasts all the time. I don't know what I get besides just like I like it. Some documentaries, if it's hard hitting, wakes people up. Some of my videos, I'm trying to get back to it more. I apologize for the delay, but I'm trying to get back to like my 5-10 minute videos of like really explaining stuff because I think that those are more effective. I had to take a break. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I got a little burnt out making those videos by myself, doing all the production. As much as I did it for like 5 years, I'm kind of like burnt out from it. So I needed to switch gears, try audio stuff, longer form stuff, even like reels and stuff. I haven't made as much recently. It's not that I don't want to. It's just like I'm trying to evolve, but at the same time, not like burn myself out to the point where I can't even like make it anymore. So I do want to do more like meaningful short videos that are convincing because I do think that those are actually the most important ones that do the best. It's just, to be honest, like some of my best videos takes me 7 hours, 8 hours. I'm sitting there, my back hurts. I'm editing for freaking 5 hours doing the work of 10 people. I still do a lot of work, but it's like, this is a little more fun for me. I like to talk and just sit here. Having to edit that much and then sometimes them getting censored, etc., is just kind of a little bit of a buzzkill, but it's all good. I'll do that stuff. I just needed to like try podcasting a little and switch it up, see how it worked. But appreciate you guys. God bless you. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed some part of this video. And I blew it today because I haven't done a live stream in a while, and I blew it most other times. And some people like the longer ones, but I do want to do shorter stuff and more like convincing stuff more. It's just a lot more work and sometimes more or less reward. It really depends, but I just needed a little break. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. I'll be back soon. And thanks for listening to Dream Rare Podcast. Even if you disagree, no worries. Just don't be insane about it and tell me in the comment section and just make sense. Don't just be like, it's like, I'm not mad at that. I'm just saying, like, if you can articulate why I'm wrong, and convince me, then I'll get on the straight and narrow. I don't think I know everything. And if someone can make a good argument, you could change my opinion. I'm not very overly like egotistical about my thoughts. It's just if people can't articulate why it's wrong and just get upset by it, then I'm not convinced by it. So I will look at stuff. I'm always listening, and I do appreciate everybody watching. Dream Rare Podcast, we're going out. Some guy said, bring me on Butthead, and his name is, bring me on Chief Butthead. Are you Beavis and Butthead, or are you just like a random Butthead? Either way, probably not going to happen, but God bless you, Butthead, and God bless everyone who's not a Butthead. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk for $5 a month. You can help support me, support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying, so I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/dreamrarechat or @dreamrarechat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. Dream Rare Chat at Telegram. My Instagram is @dreamrare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And dreamrarelinks.com, that's dreamrarelinks.com, has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at dreamrarelinks.com. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. You already know I'll be back